What up, folk? It's your man Donald King, a jingling. What's up with y'all, man? How y'all doing? I'm over here looking at the computer. Ain't even bothered to make eye contact with the camera yet. Yeah, hopefully I'm not too far lagging behind here. Yeah. All right, cool. So we're good. Anywho, what y'all up to tonight? Hopefully y'all are doing well. I don't want to cut the fan on in here tonight, but these older homes, again, they don't get much circulation upstairs. So, yeah, it's just the way they're constructed. Anywho, but I thought maybe I could try and improve the sound quality from last video. But y'all understand what I'm saying, fair enough. So I'm not tripping off of it too much. Let me see. I can bring myself into frame a little bit more. So, anywho, man, as usual, I almost hit a bottleneck effect with what I wanted to talk about tonight in tonight's podcast because, again, I don't really. I'm always shooting from the hip. I never have it in my mind what exactly I'm going to be talking about, and everything that you all see me discuss, I'm literally speaking in real time. So this is not me doing some super rehearsed thing. And as such, because everything is so free flowing, then when I, when deciding on what to talk about, I have to, I guess, pull up bodies of principles on the fly. And because the principles I read, they are not in English, it's like you're trying to explain things that are more akin to images. So imagine playing like a huge game of Pictionary. That's kind of like what looking through the Avatar perspective is like. It's like a huge game of Pictionary. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Where it's like, you're being shown images and you have to try to articulate what you see and transform it into language that people will understand, and you have to do it on the fly. And I'm fortunate in that I have a fairly high intelligence level because it seems that I'm able to do it. It seems I'm able to do it with a decent level of fluidity, and I guess I'm adept in it, but it's still very hard to do. And sometimes it's like, especially if you're reading principles, then all of a sudden you'll see one and it might be interesting to you, and you have this lane of principles that you were reading before, and you're trying to stay focused on that, but then all of a sudden this other little principle will pop up and it'll start traveling off that way, and you're sitting here and it's like, you're still trying to stay focused, but that one looks real interesting, and as you start to open it and unpack it, then all of a sudden it's like looking into a telescope at what you think is a little dots and expanding it and finding an entire universe worth of galaxies down there. That's what it's kind of like. So yeah, that's what it's like, man. I'm going to be talking about probably one of the most important things I think that I'm going to speak on in this podcast series. I don't know how many episodes this is going to be, but this, I think, is episode either 85 or 87. It's one of the two. But man, I'm getting real close to 100. But tonight I wanted to explain to you all some things that humanity has been struggling to understand for millennia. Right? Now, the framing I'm going to be supplying in this video, it goes above what's taught in religion. And ultimately, every religion can only support what I'm saying. The best science you all can produce as a species can only support what I'm saying. Hinduism will support what I'm saying. Buddhism, Christianity, Muslim, Judaism, all of them. Your species, because I perform above the limits of idealism, your best philosophy and the best stories you all are able to conjure and produce They can only support what I'm saying and only support fractions of what I'm saying. Holistically, because I perform above idealism entirely, you can only build up to where I'm at. You can try to compare what I'm saying to ideal types that you all have come up with and or agreed to with yourselves or among yourselves, but ultimately the best knowledge systems and the best of the knowledge systems you can produce are only capable of supporting what I say. And the reason why it's important to mention that is because what I'm saying tonight will go well above what you all's belief systems can produce, what you've produced to date, but more importantly than that, above the system of idealism entirely, or the mode of idealism, because idealism isn't even a real system, it's a mode. Kind of like a parasite is not a real life form. It's a modal. It's a defunct life form that operates on a modal I guess mechanism, if that's the best way to say it. But yeah, man. So let's get into it. Let's get her done and get her done. So, as I've mentioned to you before, the phenomenon humans refer to as God. God is reality. Okay, it's the source from whence all things emerge and/or all things derive. It's a system, unlike corruption, which is modal. Okay, so reality is a living, sentient, and self aware system. And the reason why reality has to be self aware is because reality, it necessarily must manage balance between systems. Okay, in order for there to be interdependence and symbiosis, there needs to be sort of a conductor, an orchestrator. And that system, it is, again, it's self-aware, but your reality is unique from humanity in the sense that it has, and I'm reading principles here, so forgive me as I sort of struggle to work out these language models here, but it has a sort of direct awareness for all of the phenomena and effects it's comprised of that we as humans do not possess with respect to our cellular building blocks. So reality is aware of the types of impacts you make on it, but you are not aware of the types of impacts each cell on your body is making on you. You can't be, because you're limited. All right. Now you experience when clusters or large groups of cellular building blocks on your body malfunction and or experience pain or the itch or whatever. Like when it happens in clusters, then you're kind of like, you become aware of them, but reality is unique from you in that way, in the sense that it is aware of the impact of every system it is comprised of. It is aware of all of the impacts and how those things collectivize to ultimately affect its body. All right. So why it's important to understand that is because there's a very simple principle that explains how things in reality are sort of organized. And it's something that I've spoken about for many years in my works. And it's kind of like, it goes like this. It's bodies inside of bodies, hosts inside of hosts, principles inside of principles, cycles inside of cycles. So, like, if you look at a natural organism on the body of this planet, not a transplant like a parasite or a human, you know, these emergent life forms, they're part of this planetary body's self. They're part of the planet's body. Emergent life forms are part of the planet's body. All right. This planet, in conjunction with, the other cellular building blocks within this solar system, they are part of the galaxy's body. The galaxy's body is part, in conjunction with, galaxy clusters and whatnot. They're part of a greater organ's body. And then on and on up through the scales of plane until finally you get to a whole life form. And that life form is a structural building block belonging to an even larger life form. So it's bodies inside of bodies, principles inside of principles, hosts inside of hosts, cycles inside of cycles. This is how it works at a mechanical frame on, like, for just reality in general, right? And all of these things extend up to the metasystems we know as existence and non-existence, right? So, why is it important to understand that? All right. Well, it brings us into the question of what is corruption? What is the devil? All right. So, here's basically the way that it works. And I'm going to try and explain this as concisely as I can. The devil, corruption, what is it? Well, in the most basic sense, corruption is a glitch in the coding of natural organization, right? So right now we are about to be a conjoined twin. The body of the universe we cohabitate right now, it is being invaded by and transformed and consumed, cannibalized by a parasitic twin. This parasitic twin is the source from which all parasitic and viral life forms within the body of this universe derive. Okay? Now, why is it important to understand these things? Well, you see, corruption, and let me see if I can make sure I can make this as succinct as possible. Corruption, it is, again, a glitch in natural coding, in the coding of natural organization, right? So, on the higher scales of plane, on one of the meta beings that we belong to, that we're structural building blocks belonging to, an injury occurred to the body of the organism, right? So let's say, for instance, we belong to a large fox, just for argument, just for explanation's sake. Excuse me. We belong to a large fox. Now that fox was running, and all of a sudden it got pierced by a branch, right, or by a thorn or something like that. Its paw got pierced. Now, the damage on the paw was so bad, and it was so pronounced and so impactful that it glitched the principles behind the cellular building blocks that comprise the fox's paw, right? Now, this glitch, it transformed into what we would refer to as an infection, right? Now, this glitch and or corruption, what's happening is the cellular building blocks that fell under the spell of corruption, instead of finding their way back to natural balance and sort of bonding with cells in order to heal, they started replicating. They started splicing and replicating and splicing and replicating, and again, they were removed from natural organization, so they start behaving in an unnatural way, right? Let me see. Brother Absara comes in. If the glitch encoding can never win, why is it important to be purged? Oh, excellent question, and I'll get to that in just a second, Brother Absara. So, and I have to finish explaining what this is, and hopefully I'm not butchering this, because I don't think that I've unpacked this body of principles before, so I don't have language models for it yet. But basically, this glitching that occurs due to this injury, instead of the cells finding their way back to balance and bonding together again and scarring, the glitch again, the injury was so traumatic, it was so impactful that it actually displaced the principles behind the cellular building blocks. So it created a circumstance wherein this aura that this aura overtook surrounding cellular building blocks, and it started spreading. This way of being, it started spreading. So this glitch, damn it, how do I say this? And I see the principle so clear, so that's what's so tough. The glitch, it started spreading. Now, as the glitch continues to spread, the cells that are affected by the glitch, they start to consume, and they cannibalize, and they duplicate and replicate very fast. And this is the birth of the phenomenon humans refer to as disease. Okay? This is where disease derives from. So, yeah. Now, this happens on the larger scales of plane, right? So, any cellular building block or any region of cellular building blocks that gets overtaken by this aura, all of a sudden, they become susceptible to this glitching that occurs in one of the meta beings that we belong to, right? Now, you sort of scale that down to and throughout the, I guess, the subcellular building blocks, and you get to the scale of plane that this soon-to-be conjoined twin exists on within its mother's womb, right? Now, what ended up happening was the parasitic twin, it got trapped in between the state of life and death. It got trapped in a state of unnatural certainty. And when it was trapped in that state, in that condition, this aura moved in and overtook its body, thereby turning it into a disease. Kind of like a zombie, which is what all diseases are. So this parasitic twin is, for all intents and purposes, a zombie. It's a zombie baby. It's trying to consume. It does exactly what you'd expect zombies to do. It's trying to feed on the living, and it's moving mindlessly, and it's it's destroying as it goes, right? Now, corruption, like reality, is an entity unto itself. Corruption, because it is in an unnatural state, it is in a state of pain. It's in a state of disarray. It's angry. It's mad. It's confused. And because it's angry, mad, and confused, it wants to hurt things. It wants to take its anger and frustration out on things, which is why all agents of corruption, it's why they're so malicious. It's why they're so aggressive. It's why they're so selfish. They take after the entity that is manifesting through them. Okay? And all of this goes back to just a glitch in natural coding. But this glitch in natural coding, what makes it an enemy to reality and why it must be purged, getting to Brother Absurd's question though, is because it is the thief of balance, and it destroys systems, and the building blocks that systems are comprised of, and it in, for lack of a better expression, it finds a sense of purpose. It finds a sense of delight in causing destruction and pain to building blocks that make up reality's body. So reality must purge corruption for two reasons. One, because it consumes and destroys. it consumes and destroys. But two, it replicates at such a fast pace and it mutates at such a fast pace that reality has to isolate it and purge it with extreme prejudice. With extreme prejudice. It's kind of like, imagine if there was an outbreak of a virus that made people vampires, right? And like you bite one and then all of a sudden, well, you can use the zombie trope either way, but you bite one and then all of a sudden it multiplies. So you bite one and then another person very quickly is like, oh yeah, I love blood now, let me bite this person. Nah. And they go around and they're spreading this virus pretty quickly, and in the process of spreading the virus, they're destroying the body of the planet that, you know, they live on, right? In order to protect all life, reality must purge corruption with extreme prejudice. Which brings us to the question of why corruption could never defeat reality God. All right. So why is it impossible for corruption to defeat reality? The most mechanical explanation I can supply is this. That fox, even if it gets infected, even if it somehow the infection that overtook its body and caused it to die, that destroyed its universe, died, then that fox, even if that fox, let's say the fox was somehow able to live long enough to transfer the infection to another host, and then after a while, these virion and the I guess the corrupt cellular building blocks were able to transmute and shift and adapt themselves all the way to the level of the entire system of the world that the fox is performing in, they wouldn't be able to get off the planet. They wouldn't be able to get off the planet. The disease would not be able to get off the planet that the fox was on. It's just, at the end of the day, there are limits to what corrupt cellular building blocks are able to do when they're limited by into systems they cannot perform beyond or traverse. So all the agents of corruption who have caused so much damage on this planet, just being narcissistic little dicks, just injuring and taking from humanity and living and benefiting at everybody's expense. Like, even if, like, let's look at the billionaires trying to get off the planet right now. Even if you could get off the planet, you can't defeat reality. You can't defeat, like, even extraterrestrials who have not just been throughout the bodies of the soon-to-be conjoined twin universes, but that have even been outside of it into the womb of the greater mother for which these soon-to-be conjoined twins belong to and or will be birthed from. They can't get beyond the mother. You can't win. You cannot win. Which is why being in service to Satan, being in service to corruption, is an exercise in futility. And I know that this is very hard to explain because I haven't modeled this language before, but I wanted you guys to see me sort of fumble through this in real time because I'm reading these principles in real time. It's impossible for you to win. The only thing that you can defeat, the only thing you can beat in your quest to dominate the world and make yourself comfortable, the only thing you can defeat is any chance of getting back in sync with reality. But I mean, like, even in terms of how you assign value to things, you can only beat humans for a short period of time. If your soul is corrupt, if you've nurtured corruption within yourself to a degree that you're going to force reality to purge it from you, it's going to purge it from you in the most violent way possible. And not because it wants to make you suffer, but you cause imbalance to its systems and the potential that has to be used in order to heal these systems is coming out of your ass, regardless of how long it takes, regardless of how many times your potential is dwindled to next to nothing. And then after a while, you spend, I don't know, 8, 12, 10 millennia getting enough potential in you to become a molecule. Reality is going to be like, yep, give me that. And it's going right back into restoring balance. You can't win. The system is just too big. Like at the most mechanical level, what you have to understand is corruption versus reality. What corruption is, fast as corruption is as fast as corruption spreads, reality has all the time on its side. Corruption only has a limited time. In all senses, corruption simply doesn't have enough time to defeat reality. Which is why being an agent of corruption is an exercise in futility. You can't scale to the level of reality in order to defeat it. You can't move faster than it. The best you can do is try. And when you're an agent of corruption and you choose to allow yourself to be an agent of corruption, reality, it has to get that crap out of you once you move into the principal realm. And it's a terrible process. The distortion, reality's cleansing system, are you serious? I don't even like looking into that shit. It's terrible. It's terrible. There's nothing to compare it to. It's nothing to compare it to. But again, this framing that I'm explaining to you, it goes above religion. So I'm going to double back over what I said to make sure that you guys understand it. And hopefully I'll be a little bit more succinct the second pass through. Reality is a living, sentient, self-aware system. That system is aware of all things that occur within it. It manages balance between systems and interdependent systems of systems. These systems that I'm describing, they manifest in the form of life forms. So every type of impact that's made on reality by life forms is observed and understood and by a system that is aware of every type of impact that's made on it. The system is completely aware. 100% of it. There are systems and subsystems in place that make sure that reality is constantly aware of all things happening within it. When you live parasitically, you necessarily create imbalances. When you create imbalances by living exploitively and living selfishly and living for your sense of comfort and convenience, you aggress against the system itself. Everything is meant to operate by balance and symbiosis. When you still balance and symbiosis away from the meta system, you're aggressing against the system. When the system is trying to self-rectify by sending agents in to help infected structural building blocks understand the predicament they're in, and you decide to aggress against the agents the system sends in to self-rectify, then it multiplies the amount of shit you have to face. It multiplies the amount of time you're going to be in the distortion and the level of intensity you're going to experience the distortion at. Why? Because your aggression is indicative of how corrupt you are. The more corrupt you are, the more averse to reality you are, and the more you try to compete against reality trying to self-rectify, is the more reality is going to purge that ass. Reality has to purge corruption, not just to save itself, but to save all of these sentient and self-aware life forms it's comprised of, because reality cares about them too. If you had, and think about it like this, If you had a nursery full of babies, and one baby was a vampire, trying to go around and bite the other babies and turn them into vampires, you would have to take that baby out and any baby that it bit. Now, let's say that there are some babies that were able to fight off the vampire virus and they can make it through. You're like, okay, cool. Hey, you know what? Let's heal you up, baby. Let's get you straight. But for ones that couldn't, the ones that were like really given to vampirism, before they become toddlers and before they come, like before they have autonomy, you have to get them out of there. And nobody wants to kill a baby. Even if it's a vampire baby, nobody wants to kill a baby. Unless you're corrupt to the core of what you are. But yeah, this is the way it works. Like, reality doesn't want to hurt corrupt life forms. But in the grand scheme of things, in order to protect all other things, it must purge the corrupt and those who internalize corruption via narcissism, competition, and aggression. And hopefully I answered your question well enough, brother. Absurd. But this is the way that it works. And it's all part of a glitch. Reality is trying to fix the glitch. And if the glitch can stop and take notice of what's happening and realize that it doesn't have to compete against reality, that reality is trying to heal it, not compete against it, then the glitch can heal. But right now it doesn't want to heal. It just wants to destroy and spread and take its confusion, anger, and frustration out on everything it comes in contact with. Corruption violated that it violated the conjoined twin. And by violate, I mean it's very much like it raped and defiled and beat up a fetus. When you have that kind of energy floating around in reality, of course it must be purged. Let me ask you something. If you had a pedophile that was running around, sneaking into people's houses, violating babies and small children, towards turning them into violators themselves, how far would you go to make sure that motherfucker didn't exist and nothing infected by it existed? Which is why all corrupt life forms that, for lack of a better expression, have internalized competition and narcissism and aggression to a degree, and greed to a degree, that they're unsalvageable. This is why reality must purge them with extreme prejudice, because they become like the rapists. They've become Stockholmed into being perpetuators of corruption. They've got to go. Which is why reality sends these agents around. And all of this sources back to a glitch. I want you to remember, just a glitch in natural organization resulting from an injury that happened on the higher scales of plane. It's all just a glitch, man. But, yeah. Like, dude, this is really real. Which is why avatars come around. Every avatar accomplishes something different with their life cycle. I guess with mine, I came with universal math and pardon me, the framing for how all this works at the meta scales, and just sort of helping walk you all as a species through how shit is supposed to be. You know, I know that a lot of the things that I say don't match the feelings and beliefs and the ideals that you all have sort of manufactured at the species level. I get that. I get it. But this isn't about idealism. It's not about right or wrong. This is about reality, a meta system, the meta system, rectifying an issue it must rectify in order to not just preserve itself, but to preserve organisms and living sentient systems it is comprised of. It has to get rid of corruption, which means it has to destroy idealism, and it has to destroy beliefs, and it has to destroy all of the things that source back to parasitism before this fuse can happen. So all corrupt structural building blocks belonging to the parasitic twin, those who are not able to transition to a state of neutrality, they have to get cut away and purged by the system of reality itself to have all corruption purged away from them in the most violent way possible. And reality is exceptionally thorough. And a lot of people probably, well, I guess you can ask the question, well, you know, if reality is sentient and self-aware, then how did this glitch occur to begin with? And that is a good question, and I'm just going to read principles as best as I can on this one. When this injury occurred, it isn't that there were no provisions in place for the injury to heal. The injury was so bad that it knocked around principles inside it knocked around principles, and it knocked around principles that exist opposite to the material effects. So on this side, you have the structural building blocks, you have the material structural building blocks. Behind the material structural building blocks is the principle realm, and that's I guess the state and condition from which potential is formed into energy, and then energy formed into matter. So again, this is all mechanical. It's all mechanical, but there is no way for corruption to defeat. There's no way for corruption to defeat reality. None. And if you function as an agent of corruption, and you have it in your mind that you're going to defeat me, and or you're going to compete against me, or you're going to block me or impede me or whatever, only thing you're doing is multiplying the amount of damage you've already incurred exponentially. Reality doesn't play that shit, man. Because the only thing that would make you want to compete against me, the only thing that would make you want to derail me or disrespect me or any of these other things is if corruption is in your heart, if it's got a lock on your soul. If it's got a lock on your soul, then you're already in the running to get mauled by reality itself. Y'all again, this is the worst part about humanity. Humans think pain is the worst thing they can experience. That's not even kind of true. Like, y'all, the things that you all experience in the way of discomfort, pain, itching, nausea, discomfort, and this, what y'all consider to be like the top of the food chain in terms of discomfort is nothing compared to what life is like from outside the mortal coil. Inside the flesh, this is a muted experience. This is a muted experience. Pleasure from outside of this is, oh my God, it's insane. You can't even get addicted to it. It's just amazing. When I was in heaven, are you kidding me? Oh, and that just lets me know what it's like to just sort of scale pain and disorientation from outside this experience. If bliss was that intense, and that was just my natural state, pain must be, oh my God, insane. I'm just scaling it. Dude, you don't want any part of it. And if you have to take part of it, you want the least amount of whatever you call the distortion being is possible. Which is why I'm trying to help y'all. But yeah, all this goes to a glitch in natural coding and natural organization. It's just a glitch. A glitch that reality is trying to rectify, but the glitch keeps fucking spreading and multiplying and filling shit and subduing it. But it can only scale to a certain point. And reality, again, just to make sure that the clamps stay on top of it, reality has to make sure it purges that glitch with extreme prejudice. With extreme prejudice. You feel me? This is something you can't learn in any of your religions. Your little string theories and all those other things, they're not going to teach you this stuff. The reason why I put out universal math showing how structural building blocks actually align and what they derive from is to give you an idea of emergent math versus budgetary math. Why is it important to know the difference between natural math and budgetary math? Natural math is like a mapping system. Hey, this is how everything fits together. This is how it all flows together. These are principles. Budgetary math is used for analysis, deconstruction, and synthesis. The math you guys use is for transmutation. Going back to this glitch, it's how you transform things into phenomena and effects that offset your natural deficits. You need technology when you're not synced into the system of reality. You need things to give you sight beyond sight. You need something to imbue you with a sense of certainty because you have no intuitive connection, no real intuitive connection to the source of all things. Yeah, man. It's all a glitch. But the glitch is spreading. Reality is like, hey, guys, this glitch has stolen so much potential and so much balance from my systems that after I purge this thing, every single thing that was under its spell and fell under its spell, one, has to have all of the corruption extracted from them with extreme prejudice. I don't care what I have to cut away. And two, because they fell under this spell of corruption by choice, because you choose corruption over reality, every spell, every building block that chose corruption over reality, they're going to have to fucking pay back every single imbalance they created. They're going to have to pay back for every single imbalance they created and contributed to. And it isn't like reality wants to punish humans. It's consequence. And not just humans, just extraterrestrials, the whole nine. It isn't that reality wants to harm them. Reality is like, hey, there's a system in place. This system was in place forever before you were a species, before this planet existed, before this universe existed, or the universe that's birthing them existed, or the species that universe belonged to, or the meta being that species in conjunction with other species collectivized to form. All of these things this system was in place well before you. You're not the star of everything. I'm not trying to punish you. This is how the system works. At the most fundamental mechanical level, this is how the system works. You know how I've sustained this long as reality? Because I understand how the system works. You're not smarter than reality. You're not. At the species level, at the individual level, reality doesn't emerge from your imagination. It doesn't emerge from the agreements you make with yourself. Your attitude does not affect or impact reality. What you're willing to accept has no bearing on reality. Whether or not you dislike me or you dislike any of the things that I'm saying and how they fit with and edify your feelings and beliefs about reality, you are not fucking in charge. You're not in charge. You have no power here. You are not God. You're not a God. You are not fit to knuckle up against meta beings. Period. Certainly not the system of reality itself. And if you choose to be an active agent of corruption, there is no scenario in which you win. None. We got anybody else out in the audience tonight? I say Brother Absurd. I don't know if you're still tuned in, but yeah. So I want you to imagine it like this. You trying to defeat reality or joining on a team trying to defeat reality. And this is an example I've used before, but it's kind of like an army of ants. An army of ants thinking that they're going to climb to the top of their anthill and defeat the sun. Imagine an ant, from Force's perspective, imagine you were an ant. You saw this great glowing orb in the sky. One of your buddies was walking under a magnifying glass by chance and got burned. And all of a sudden, your pride made it so that you thought you were going to wage war against the sun. And you're like, yo, we're about to take the sun out. Everybody, put on your swords and shields. We're about to go and we're about to take this sun down. And from your view and perspective, you thought that you could actually just build a little anthill tall enough to reach the sun, attack it, and kill it. Not realizing that you were just this small, tiny thing. On the planet you were already on, and that you could never reach the sun with all the ants in the world lined up, all the ants in the history of the world lined up, extended from thorax to antenna. You could never even touch the sun. Even if you got close to the sun, most of you would freeze in the cold of space or burn once you got close enough to the sun. The thought of you killing the sun would be pure lunacy. That is what it's like for humans trying to defeat reality and agents of reality. Because my powers don't kick in until I'm out of this body. Maybe, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this shit out. It's weird. But the entity performing through me, you don't want any part of it. It's going to fuck you up. You bring your little attitude, it notices each and every one of you who try to compete. It's like, oh, I'm going to fuck you up. You're an agent of corruption. That's the only reason why you would dislike me. I'm going to break you bad. Because the only thing that bring animus to me is pride. Oh, you're done. Your little attitude. Oh, you're going to ignore me? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, bet. Don't act like I didn't give you a chance. Oh, you're going to swing at me. Oh, you're going to try and conspire against me. Oh, okay. That's what it is? Okay. Because the only thing that would make you do that is you being in service to your father and Your father is nothing more than a glitch. It's just a glitch. But a glitch that's caused all sort of damage, and a glitch that delights in creating imbalance and causing suffering and pain, a thing that needs to be purged from existence with extreme prejudice, and you chose that glitch over reality. Okay, bet. That's what you want. You chose your pride over syncing up with reality. You chose serving the glitch. You chose serving the mirror over reality. What time out of this? We're gonna see. Because it didn't like you haven't been given a chance. The devil is not some powerful all it's not some all-powerful, omniscient, omnipotent thing it makes itself out to be. It's a deceiver. It's a manipulator. It's not even a fully realized entity. It's a mode. It's not even a fully realized system. Reality is a system. Corruption, the devil, Satan, whatever you call it, it's a mode. Reality is the host. Corruption is the tiny, 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 tiny parasite. It's the little disease cell that needs to get cut away. You can't win. You can't win. And everything you do to try to win, and everything you do to try to compete, gets charged back to you with unimaginable interest. Everything that I have to do in the way of extra steps to reach this species gets charged back to each and every being that did not clear the path, especially those who are blocking it, with unimaginable interest. This is a scenario in which you only lose. It's not a question of whether or not you will lose. It's only a question of the degree to which you'll suffer behind your loss. All because you want to defend a glitch. Take this to your overseers, take it to your extraterrestrial friends or whoever. There's no scenario in which you win this. None. And the real damage doesn't occur until we're out of these bodies. And everything you do to give yourself additional comforts while we're in these bodies gets charged back to you with exponential interest. Now that I've explained to you what the fuck is happening. All of you who are in intelligence agencies who are not making those who you report to fully abreast of every single thing that I'm describing to you, you get the shit charged back to you with exponential interest for defending a glitch. A thing that shouldn't exist to begin with, a thing that's born of an injury that needs to heal. See, here's the great irony. You all should want to make it heal. The only reason why you're assholes and you're trying to comfort yourself at the expense of everyone else is because even behind all that comfort, even behind you, I guess, indulging your addiction to comfort and convenience and desires to feel important, you're still miserable. You're still hurt. You're still in a constant state of agony, distress, and disarray, and you don't know why. Why are you so aggressive? Why are you so cowardly? You're not secure, not confident, not comfortable, you're still in a state of disarray. Even with all the resources, you still hurt. And you don't know why. And I know you hurt, because if you didn't, empathy would kick in and you'll be like, oh my God, we got to stop this shit. This is terrible. Why would we even be? Who put us on this path? You'd be singing up with reality and not delving deeper and deeper into escapes and self-idealizing, etc., etc. This isn't a fucking game. This is not a fucking game. I know that you tend to look at how you fare against other humans as the sort of indicator regarding how successful your I guess, for lack of a better expression, your efforts to conquest are. But yeah, that's how slaves think. Slaves can't tell the difference between looking important and being free. Slaves can't tell the difference between being superior to other slaves and actually being free and autonomous and healthy and well-adjusted. There is no scenario in which this doesn't end badly for you. Your best bet, step forward, start the conversations. You don't even have to believe on the front end. Start the conversations. Be brave. Just fucking be brave enough to step forward and have the fucking conversation. If the shit doesn't pan out, you're like, nah, see, no, you know what? We theorized everything. We watched all your videos. We've been monitoring you from the side, and we found glitches here, there, and there. Therefore, we can't ride with you. And I'm like, you know what? Give me an opportunity to explain it. If I can't explain what I'm saying, then it's like, you know what? I endorse it. Hey, you know what? You're right. Hey, this doesn't match up. Well, shit, let me get on what you're doing, because what you're saying sounds like it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, being cowardly is going to put you in a bad way. It's going to put you in a bad way. And, I mean, right now, only thing you get from me, and I'm not even addressing anybody specifically, so if you are corrupt, the only thing you get from me talking past you is slightly scathing words. Yeah. You're dealing with reality. It's a whole nother thing. I pull punches, kinda, just because I understand it's not your fault you were born into this circumstance. I guess that's the beauty of having an avatar that sort of lived through the human experience growing up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when they talk about the return of Jesus and yeah. It only makes sense, and you don't have to believe that I am that figure, but it only makes sense that the person would show up here and have to live through the experience before being given any sort of power to act against it, because you can't bring a righteous mindset into a mechanical problem, especially with life forms that are the way they are by happenstance. It's very unfair. Very unfair. So I do what I can to try and help you all acclimate to the best of my ability. Anywho, guys, we are at an hour. Y'all already know what it is. I'm your man, Donald King. I shoot these podcasts on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm obviously on Instagram. You see my videos every now and again. I'm shooting these on Facebook Live. I do fly them over to my YouTube channel. And I'll post a link before too long. I've been saying I was going to do that for a while. By the way, guys, I don't like to make promises about what I'm going to do, especially in the material realm, because it's like I have so much on my plate as an avatar. I know that it's like I got to get pastries to this people and recipes to this people and yeah. There's a lot going on. So, and then I also have to take time away to um, sort of heal my body the best I can and manage my flesh and whatever because it I have wear multiple hats in this role. It's a lot that comes with it, man. I mean, like I don't know anybody whose body is actually just built to just do this. I mean, man, I don't know. It's rough, but anyway, it's like if I haven't gotten to you for some things that I've said I was going to do. Bear with me. I try to keep all of my promises to the best of my ability. Sometimes things are going to slip through the cracks just because I have so much going on. So if something slips through the cracks, just remind me. And I'm gonna do my best to try and get it done for you. But I also have to be cognizant of not telling people I can do things when I don't know what my next day is going to look like a lot of times. So forgive me on that part. Also, guys, I post a Medium every now and again. So I have tons of content that I probably need to fly over there. Um, and again, like I was saying, it's like I move all these podcasts over to my YouTube channel so you can check them out there too. This is about podcast 85 or 87, one of the two. I'm almost at 100. Wow. So yeah, also, if you guys get any sort of appreciation out of what I do and you want to help your boy out, you want to help me reach as many people as I can, and it is in your best interest to, because in helping me, you're helping the system of reality. You can always, feel free to donate. You can cash up your boy at Danny Kang, DonnieKang, and also you can join the Patreon family. I'm Avatar Cycle XIII. That's Avatar Cycle 13, same as my Instagram profile. Yeah, proceeds go to building this up to a larger platform. Again, I want to reach as many people as I can before I'm out of this flesh suit. Don't know how much time I got left in it. Estranger. So, yeah, man, we get it done. But at any rate, hopefully I gave you guys some information tonight that you able to. Hopefully I gave you some greater understanding as to what's going on. Again, this is all a glitch. It's just a glitch. What I'm providing to you all in universal math is the actual mapping system for how structural building blocks are supposed to fit together and emerge. You're either beholden to corruption or you're beholden to reality, but you can't serve both. Can't serve both. So you get to choose. You get to choose which master you'll serve. But if you do decide to go the route of serving corruption and you want to be an agent of corruption, even though it is an entity, even though it is imbued with a type of mentality which is based in parasitism, and it is sentient and self-aware to a degree, at the end of the day, the entity you're serving is nothing more than a glitch. A glitch that cannot scale to the system of reality itself. The devil trying to fight reality is literally akin to a mosquito sans any disease on its part trying to fight your entire body. It's a nuisance, but you're going to live longer than the mosquito. More likely you're going to swat the mosquito. And even if the mosquito is able to get away for a short period of time, it just doesn't have the ability to scale to fight you at the level of your body. You can't win. You cannot win. It's your man. I'm out.